Wow, that's loud.
Fishing is peaceful until something drags you in. These 30 shocking fishing encounters caught on camera reveal the dark side of a simple day on the water. Let's dive in. This man was on a snorkeling trip when he suddenly came face to face with a gigantic whale shark. At first, it looked as though the shark was charging directly at him, but he quickly realized it was actually chasing the fish being tossed into the water, not him. Relieved, he managed to climb back onto the boat without harm.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, wow. Hey, bro. Hey.
Near Grand Harbor, Texas, YouTuber Jordan Armacost decided to take his dog Arya on a thrilling kayaking outing. What he didn't realize was that the waters were filled with alligators. While gliding calmly across the lake, he suddenly pulls Arya away from the edge after spotting the head of a gator rising from the water, likely waiting for a chance to grab her.
Stay. Fucking A. Where's this mother at? Stay, Ar. Let's get the fuck out of here. Woo! Excuse my language, but...
Trying to get out of the area, he once again has to pull his dog back after another reptile surfaces nearby.
That is scary. Woo! That dude had to be like 6 or 7 feet. Oh my God, Ar. Okay, he liked you. You look juicy. Maybe we shouldn't come over here. Stay, stay. I love you too much.
Now truly fearing for both of their lives, he quickly turns the kayak around and paddles hard to escape the predators. Hopefully, he never takes his dog back to that lake again. YouTuber John Meslin and his son Cameron were spending the day at their local pond, hoping for a simple, enjoyable fishing trip. As Cameron reeled in his very first catch of the day, he proudly held it up for the camera. But in the background, ripples in the water hinted at a hungry alligator drawing closer.
When it was on its, oh crap, it was slipping out of my hands, and so it's heavy.
Fortunately, Cameron turned around at the last possible moment and spotted the threat before it was too late. Both father and son seemed to realize just how differently things could have ended had they not noticed the predator in time. While spending a calm day fishing by the lake, one person ended up witnessing something truly horrifying. A plane took off, only to crash in mid-air just moments later. The peaceful setting of the lake stood in shocking contrast to the violent and tragic scene that unfolded. Some speculated that the aircraft might have been sabotaged, but very little information was ever released about the incident, leaving many to question what really took place. A couple fishing off the coast of South Florida spotted something unusual moving in the water and quickly began recording.
It's right here. It's right here. Holy mackerel. What the hell is this thing? It's coming up. Oh my God. Hold on. No, stop.
Their camera captured what appears to be an unidentified sea creature.
What the fuck is that? Go. Go. I don't know what that is, Dave. Just hold on.
Witnesses later described it as measuring over 20 feet in length and as thick as a tree trunk. Its body looked like that of a massive snake, with visible scales. The creature's enormous size and strange appearance left many wondering if it was a rare marine animal, an undiscovered species, or something entirely unknown. This fisherman managed to reel in a massive tuna, but just as he began celebrating, something unexpected occurred.
Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my God! Woo! Ho! Ho! Woo!
Out of nowhere, a shark lunged at the tuna. Realizing the danger, the fisherman immediately threw the catch back into the water to protect himself. Thankfully, he managed to avoid injury and escaped unharmed. A group of fishermen off the northeast coast of Brazil suddenly found themselves stranded far out at sea on a small jangada boat.
Né, pessoal, como eu tava falando, a gente pegou uma aqui, acabou até molhando o celular. Vocês estão vendo aí a embarcação totalmente submersa aí, afundada debaixo d'água. Como pode ver aqui o estado, tá aqui macho, tá aqui branco. O pano a gente já tirou, fizemos uma ruminha pra ali. E é isso aí, pessoal. Tá aqui, estamos descendo aqui a deriva. Tem uns parceiros aí mais próximos, a gente espera que apareça meio logo aí para socorrer a gente.
The vessel was nearly submerged, and the crew struggled desperately to keep it afloat. What made the ordeal even more frightening was the complete isolation. No other boats, no land, only endless stretches of water in every direction. The tension grew heavier as the fishermen came to grips with the danger they were facing. Fortunately, it seems they were eventually rescued before tragedy could strike. In October 2018, Jason Haslin and his friends spotted something unusual while walking along the shores of Lake Superior in Michigan. A large, gray, blurry shape appeared on the horizon, seemingly hovering hundreds of feet above the water. At first, they assumed it could be a ship, but its impossible position led them to question if it might be a ghostly vessel. This ship would have had to be hundreds of feet in the air. We never thought it was a ghost ship at the time, but when I got home and reviewed the video, that's all I could think of. Initially, the group brushed off the idea, but after carefully watching the footage again, Jason began to have second thoughts. Could this have been the apparition of a long-lost ship rising from the depths? During a fishing trip near Burlington, Canada, a family came across something highly unusual.
What is that?
They noticed a large, dark figure moving through the forest. Its movements resembled those of a human, yet its sheer size seemed far too large to be one. Unfortunately, the distance made it difficult to identify the figure clearly. Could this have been a Bigfoot encounter, or was something else hiding within the dense woods? Hold on a sec. If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's continue. In May 2012, a group of fishermen working in rough waters experienced a disturbing encounter. As they pulled in their net, something powerful and unrecognizable thrashed violently from within. Before they could determine what it was, the creature fought so fiercely that, in a panic, one of the men released the net back into the sea. Too shaken to investigate further, the crew abandoned the catch. To this day, no one knows what they pulled from the depths, and the mystery remains unsolved. A group of friends was quietly fishing on a closed lake when the situation suddenly took an unexpected turn.
Oh, stand in there, man. She's just waiting for us to hit it. Just ignore him. That's the best thing you could do. I almost just hooked a sunfish. Just don't say anything. Move along, man. Fish here. She actually, no, just stay here. Seriously. She's gonna keep yelling at us. It's not her job either. Man, we're not doing anything wrong. We're just fishing. We're just fishing. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just fishing. We haven't hit anything. And if we do, stuff happens. Can't be. Man, we're fishing. You okay? Okay.
No more fish.
Yep, no more fish.
Yeah. Someone scared him away.
It's a little unacceptable, but we'll leave. Just trying to fish, that's all we're doing.
She actually jumped into the water to scare off all the fish and frustrate them. Unfortunately, the video ends abruptly, leaving many to wonder why anyone would react like this. In Australia, a group of unsuspecting tourists came face to face with a hungry saltwater crocodile, but the encounter didn't go exactly as planned. Excited, everyone pulled out their cameras as the predator swam toward their boat, eager to capture the moment. The guide dangled a piece of meat over the reptile, trying several times to grab its attention. But what followed was not at all what he had expected.
And then now sort of stay away.
Afterward, the tourists stopped recording, and it's assumed they went on with their day as if nothing had happened. While walking along the Jersey shore, a man came across something disturbing: airplane seats scattered along the beach. Some viewers argued that the design didn't quite match, suggesting it might just be discarded material that had fallen off a waste transport vessel. Still, the possibility that they really were plane seats raises far more unsettling questions. On a river in Texas, a man set out on a peaceful kayaking trip with no idea of what he was about to encounter. At first, he appeared to be paddling calmly downstream when the unthinkable occurred.
Oh shit.
Although shaken, he chose to keep going with his trip, a decision he would quickly regret. Unfortunately, the footage cuts off, and it seems he most likely paddled away from the area entirely. Danny and his friends from the Swamp and Stomp YouTube channel set out on what they thought would be a routine duck hunting trip in Florida, not expecting much out of the ordinary. After a few hours of success, they were shocked to see a massive alligator devouring one of the ducks that had been shot earlier. Since they were preparing to leave anyway, the man recording attempted to cross the swamp to reach his canoe on the opposite side. But the hungry predator wasn't willing to let him pass so easily. After firing a warning shot, he continued toward his canoe, only to realize the gator was still trailing him. That's when he fired a second round to make sure the animal didn't get any closer. Thankfully, the alligator eventually gave up and stopped pursuing. As he paddled away in his canoe, its enormous size could be clearly seen. One thing's for sure, you wouldn't want a creature like that anywhere near you. A group of tourists on a boat had their guide attempt to feed some hungry crocodiles, but things quickly took a shocking turn. After spotting the reptiles on the far side of the river, they decided to move closer and pull up along the shore. Instead of staying safe on the boat, the guide actually jumped into the water holding a piece of chicken, trying to lure the crocodiles toward him.
Yeah, I got this.
He eventually caught their attention and began feeding them at close range, while the terrified tourists could only watch.
Wow, that's loud.
Realizing the risk, he climbed back aboard but still tried to continue the show. Unfortunately, the woman recording was not prepared for what happened next.
Are you still filming? Yeah.
The group decided they had seen more than enough, started the boat, and left the crocodiles behind before anyone could get hurt. While kayaking along the White Nile River in Uganda, a group of unlucky tourists suddenly found themselves fighting for their lives against a ferocious crocodile. As the footage begins, the men are seen frantically striking the water's surface with their paddles in an attempt to scare the predator away. Thinking the animal has retreated, they stop for a moment, only to quickly regret it when the struggle continues and one of the paddles is lost. Another member of the group quickly passes over a spare so the fight can carry on.
Sorry. It's okay?
No, that's all good, dude. Nice one. Jesus.
Fuck, that was a big cunt. Whoa, fuck yeah, dude.
Fortunately for the tourists, the crocodile eventually backs off and swims away, allowing them to celebrate their narrow escape. Near a river in Brazil, a group of friends had what first appeared to be a routine crocodile encounter, until it suddenly took a dangerous turn. At first, they kept a cautious distance as the reptile crawled up from the water ahead. Nothing seemed unusual as they stood watching, but then they glanced behind them and quickly realized the threat. Fearing for their safety, the group began backing away as the hungry crocodile advanced directly toward them. With the animal staring them down, the friends remained frozen in place, simply observing, until they eventually stopped recording altogether. While biking along a trail in Florida, a man encountered a massive alligator that clearly wasn't pleased to see him. Spotting the reptile from a distance, he decided to sneak closer, hoping to capture some interesting footage.
Christ, he's big. And he's not afraid of me at all, because he's so big.
Now only a few feet away, he tried to scare the animal off the path.
Wonder what he's doing out here. Come on. Move. Move. I don't know if gators are known for their...
But the predator remained completely unfazed, forcing the man to raise his voice in frustration.
Now it's hissing at me. It's pissed. Go on. Arr.
Out of options, he finally tried something different.
All right, I gotta touch him. It's preordained I've got to touch a massive alligator. Go on, Gator, Gator, Gator.
Realizing the risk wasn't worth it, he backed off, returned to his bike, and cautiously rode past the enormous reptile. In Central Florida, two men tried their luck at catching a baby alligator from a pond, only for the nearby mother to quickly intervene. Using a net, one of them approached the water and managed to grab a hatchling almost immediately. He then attempted to hold it up for the camera when the unthinkable happened. The mother gator, clearly angered, made her presence known. That says everything.
That says everything. Did you hear that little noise that he made? That? Get the fuck out of here. We gotta get out of here, man.
Now genuinely fearing for their lives, the men quickly gathered their gear and abandoned the area before anything worse could occur. YouTuber Carson Ruud and his friends were on a casual walk through nature when they came across an alligator that turned out to be far too curious. At first, they strolled calmly through the park without expecting much, until they reached a murky river. Not long after, one of the boys spotted an alligator on the right side and crouched near the water's edge, hoping to draw its attention.
It loves vibration. Back up, back up, back up. Dude, you better back up, Elijah.
Now just inches away from the reptile, he stayed put as the curious predator began creeping closer.
Dude, he's right there next to that freaking alligator. Literally 3 feet away from it.
Fortunately, they chose not to push their luck any further. The group turned away, left the area, and headed back to their car before things could escalate. At a wildlife facility, an unsuspecting man suddenly realized he was being watched. A Nile crocodile had its eyes locked on him from the water. Hoping to provoke a reaction, he tossed a stick into the river.
Crouching down is very stupid near the water's edge. There she is.
Crouching near the edge proved to be a risky move. Fortunately for him, the predator chose not to attack and instead slipped back into the murky water. This intense clip begins with a man filming his surroundings before launching himself from a rope swing into the water below, camera still in hand. For a brief moment, everything seems fine as he continues recording the clear water, until suddenly, something happens. Panicked, he quickly swims back toward the shore and manages to escape just in time. On a river in Florida, a man was peacefully fishing from his paddleboard when what began as a seemingly normal alligator sighting quickly escalated into something much worse. For most of the day, he appeared to be enjoying his time on the water, even landing a few fish. But the mood changed when he suddenly noticed an alligator swimming off to his right.
Oh my alligator, you scared the piss out of me. Get out of here. Oh. Ugh.
With the predator now heading straight toward him, he had no choice but to defend himself.
Hey. Beat it, son. Holy crap. You are ready to fight. Get the frick out of here, dude.
He tried paddling away, but the reptile wasn't giving up so easily. Bro, he is trying to square up.
You don't give a rat's ass. I swear to God, if you bite my paddleboard, I'll be pissed. I don't want to turn my back on this thing. Get out of here, you rat.
Once the alligator slipped back underwater, the man seized the chance to quickly paddle away while he still could. On Australia's Adelaide River, an expedition took a dangerous turn when a bold tour guide attempted to feed one of the largest crocodiles in the region up close. Tourists immediately turned on their cameras as the man dangled a piece of meat tied to a long pole, splashing it in the water to lure the predator. The massive crocodile took the bait and slowly swam toward the edge, where the guide continued his risky performance, teasing the animal just inches from the boat. He then offered more meat, further encouraging the reptile to approach, while the situation grew increasingly unsafe. The footage ends there, and it seems the tourists simply carried on with their journey afterward. In Oak Island, North Carolina, a group of wildlife officials and police officers found themselves in a standoff with a 10-foot alligator as they attempted to capture it. When the camera begins rolling, the reptile is seen on a long leash being pulled out of a residential yard by 3 officers.
Yeah, there you go. You look pissed too.
I mean, what the heck? Did they just come out?
I guess.
And the gators in their yard?
Yeah.
As the animal struggled to break free, the men held firm until they had it positioned where they wanted. They then retrieved a massive metal container from their vehicle. Looks like he's got something in his mouth.
Bite you.
Looks like he's got something in his mouth.
Yeah, right? That's what I was thinking too. Oh no.
Once the container was ready, the officers had to wrestle the predator again as it refused to go down without a fight. Eventually, the experienced team managed to secure the alligator and load it up for transport, with plans to reintroduce it back into the wild. A cameraman paid the price for getting a little too close to an impatient crocodile. In an attempt to get a better view, the person filming steps closer, startling the predator and triggering a terrifying reaction. The clip cuts off abruptly during the attack, leaving what happened afterward unknown. On the edge of a river in Costa Rica, a group of tourists witnessed a shocking scene when their fearless guide attempted to hand-feed a hungry crocodile. Before anything else, the guide hit record and casually walked down to the riverbank, trying to draw the animal's attention. Soon, the head of a crocodile surfaced, and the man began offering it pieces of meat. With the massive predator right in front of him, the guide remained just inches away as it stared him down. For several moments, the tourists could only watch in silence. Eventually, the guide turned back toward the boat and stopped recording. Australian YouTuber Lastcast. Louis and his friend thought it was the perfect day to head out fishing. After arriving on an island, they searched for the right spot and eventually came across a secluded billabong, deciding to settle there for the day. After several attempts, they finally hooked a fish but struggled to pull it safely from the water.
Leon's hooked up to a barra. Decent size. Don't snap that, don't snap that. Drag it along. Walk it. We've got to be so careful of crocs right now. If we're not careful, there's going to be a croc that's going to come and grab us soon.
As Louis approached the water with a stick to secure the fish, the head of a crocodile could be seen poking out, watching them closely. Fortunately unharmed, they released the fish and tried again. A few minutes later, Louis noticed bubbles rising in their direction, signs of a crocodile swimming straight toward them.
Just there. I don't know if you can see the bubbles. I'll try to zoom in. So I've tried to zoom in up a bit on these bubbles. It's definitely a croc.
Realizing it was too dangerous to stay, the two wisely called it a day. It's safe to say they were incredibly lucky to walk away without incident. A group of fishermen, expecting nothing more than a routine day on the river, stumbled upon something truly strange. Floating on the surface was the corpse of a mysterious creature. It had a small yellowish body with oddly bent limbs. Unable to identify what it was, the men pulled the carcass ashore for a closer examination. But its origin remained a complete mystery. When the footage later appeared online, speculation ran wild. Some suggested it could be a kappa, a mythical creature from Japanese folklore, while others believed it was simply an animal whose appearance had been distorted through decomposition. That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.